Those that despise America fight on the side of control and totalitarianism. And that has come in various different forms. Currently, it's a strange concoction of Marxist ideas and racist philosophy all bubbled together, all trying to do America in. So, how has America in the past been able to conquer the enemies within and without? Let's look back at some important moments from important men in American history, shall we? And I want to start with President Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt, TR, in his famous Man in the Arena speech. Speech wasn't recorded, but it's been reread many times. Take a listen to this particular part of it.
The poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer. There are many men who feel a kind of twisted pride and cynicism. There are many who confine themselves to criticism of the way others do what they themselves dare not even attempt. There is no more unhealthy being, no man less worthy of respect than he who either really holds or feigns to hold an attitude of sneering disbelief toward all that is great and lofty, whether in achievement or in that noble effort which, even if it fails, comes to second achievement. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Ah, yes. TR, of course, talking about getting your skin in the game. Being involved, not just being a heckler from the sidelines, achieving great things because of you and your passion. And that particular passage has been quoted a great deal, as you know, especially the part that says, it is not the critic who counts. And I want to extrapolate on that sentence, because you see, the people who hate America, those are its critics. They say America is damned because it was born of slavery, because it did not and still doesn't live up to its ideals, and that the country is still discriminating to this day. They use that to say we should tear the whole system down and replace it with one that looks decidedly more Marxist. But they lie. All those things are lies. You also have those from the outside, countries from the world who criticize American power and dominance, even those that America helped save and helped to rebuild time and time again. They say American world leadership has to lead to nothing but disaster, but has it? Of course not. We're currently living in the longest, most peaceful time in world history. It's the longest time of relative peace in world history, though it doesn't feel like that because of what you see in the news. But most of human history has been plagued by war after war after war, plus famine and actual plagues and starvation and any other number of brutal atrocities mixed in for sport. So are we going to let the critics do us in, or are we going to continue to stand boldly in the face of adversity, as Teddy Roosevelt urged in that speech? Let's go to another important figure in American history, President Ronald Regan. We featured him yesterday. His fight against communism and the Soviets mirrors the one we're fighting against the left here in America today and China, because I said earlier, the left is really fighting for a form of communism where they control everything, including what you do, what you say, where you go. Before he was president, Ronald Reagan gave a famous speech in support of failed Republican nominee Barry Goldwater, and in it he explained how and why we need to fight for this country. Now is the time for choosing. Listen.
Alexander Hamilton said, "A nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one." Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? Well, Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better read than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
And every word of that, every single word is true.